I'd like to bring this down to the ant's eye view, because I want to particularly try to focus on the problems in our region, the things I think that entrepreneurs and either venture capitalists can do to fix those problems. And I'm going to start with a little history lesson on the birth of Silicon Valley. There might be a lot of different stories out there about how it started in legends, but this is the one that I've heard when I was in Silicon Valley. And it started like this. With World War II, you had a huge trouble in Europe, in the United States perspective, and they had to really quickly and rapidly get into the sort of war machine. And so what happened is the government found the brightest minds, the scientists, the engineers, throughout the university systems, the Harvards, the Yales, the Stanfords, and they picked them. And they said, hey, you got to help us with the war effort. And they put them all together in these teams to create physics and guidance systems and missile systems and all these military systems and all the little technologies behind them. And they did it. And once that happened and finished, they said, oh, well, now that we've theoretically done this research, we actually have to build it. And so then the Department of Defense made billions and billions in nice, juicy contracts, moved those scientists together with engineers and put them in Silicon Valley where they had lots of manufacturing space available, and basically created the companies. They drove sort of the engine behind the companies. Hewlett and Packard and Raytheon and all these companies that grew from this. They basically were fed billions and billions of defense dollars to grow. So my point is, from these not so humble beginnings, it worked. For better or worse, behind sort of that, and then some guidance of the Cold War, and that continued and perpetuated, these billions of dollars flew into Silicon Valley, along with great minds and the education systems that backed that up, and then the government contracts and the businesses that then supported that. And this grew in this perfect little trifecta, and it continues even today. But without this trifecta of government, education, and business cooperating very, very closely, we would not have had Silicon Valley. It would be a totally different place today. And we see the same thing in Israel, and to some extent in China and Singapore. They have a long history of this. Unfortunately, the cold hard truth for us in this region is that we do not. We don't have this trifecta without this trifecta, and it's not coming anytime soon. It's just not. Our government and our education system isn't going to do what Israel's or the United States did. So that means if we're trying to play by the same rules as they are, it's not going to work, guys, because we're missing pieces. We don't have it all. We just don't. So some lessons I've learned on how to sort of still grow and thrive in a constrained environment and get some support, I'll give you now. And then after that, I got some other cool ideas. So what can we do? Little lessons I've learned. One, funding is going to stay lean. Yes. I'll give you an example from my country, Bulgaria. There are 3 that I know of in 10 years. 3 instances of outside VC. 3 companies in 10 years. The traditional story of I'm an entrepreneur, I'm going to get 100,000 in seed or 50 or 200 or whatever it is, and then I'm going to get that B round or the A round, the real round, and get a 3 million or a 10 million B round. It's bullshit. You might get lucky, maybe, or you can sacrifice yourself and your country and your lifestyle and create rainy day and go to the United States and the UK. Yes. But if you're in Serbia, if you're in Bulgaria, if you're in Croatia, funding is going to stay lean. You cannot count on the next round. Okay, which means what? Fund to profitability. Make every euro count. It might be your last. So if I were a VC, I would be like, hey, I'm going to fund companies, but basically have an existing channel for distribution. Lightweight ones, App Store, Marketplace, Android Market, you've got an existing channel. Or I'm going to fund companies that are small and regional and could probably get to profitability without the second round of funding. Because if you really think you're going to be able to go out and get a huge VC to come in, you might. But the chances are against you. So fund to profitability. And if you're an entrepreneur and you get some money, do your very best to treat it like your own little piggy bank that you saved when you were 8 years old, and spend every single little penny with cautious sort of awareness. 3, passion is absolutely required. And what I mean by that is the entrepreneurs have to actually believe in what they're doing. They're not doing it for money. It's not, oh wow, Groupon was a success in the United States, and now we have 83 Groupons in Bulgaria. And they're not doing it because they really believe it, but they're doing it because they think they're going to get cash, or they're going to make an exit and it's going to be profitable. No, they're not good enough guys anymore. Not for here if you want investment. You've really got to believe. Otherwise, you're just not going to go that extra kilometer that's needed. You're not going to make the sacrifice. You're in it for cash, not to change something, yourself, a story, to make an impact. 4, enterprise is a bitch. I know, my startup is enterprise. It's hard. There are no existing distribution channels. If you're going to fund enterprise, it costs more money, millions usually. If you look at all the enterprise applications in the States, the softwares, the technologies, the biotechs, or whatever, billions. Enterprise is hard. I'm not saying don't do it, but you just have to be in for a long, bloody, war-torn battle. You really do. I know this from first-hand experience. So it's hard. And if I was a VC, I would really think twice about funding an enterprise in the Balkans. Like enterprise scale, B2B. It's going to be tough because of the second round of funding. 5, this is my last one. I think regional is genius. Yes, China's a big market. Yes, the United States is a big market. Yes, Asia is going to boom. But you know what? You won't get the cash to go there. Not anytime soon. Sorry, guys. So why not focus on regional? What's wrong with that? Focus on your country, your community, your society, your neighboring country. Make an impact there. Be successful there. When you're regional, you can actually go out and tell your story to customers, to partners. You can, to future employees, you can make an individual impact. And you can stand far more chance of success, I think, through that individual impact, especially if you're passionate about it, because you're communicating with strength and belief. So regional is genius. So those are my 5 little tips I've got for you from a VC perspective, or a entrepreneur looking for seed perspective. Yeah. So, is that good enough for many of you? Probably not. You're probably saying, all right, but I still have that dream, that little Snow White Cinderella thing of making it big. All right, I really want to shine. So there are ways, I think, to overcome and shine. And I'm going to explore those now because I think they're pretty cool. You have to not just learn, but I put challenge first. You have to challenge yourself and the industry and accepted practice. If you don't do that, this is all going to just go sideways. Here's a really simple example that I'm going to give. Ready? It's in communications, and everybody knows this story. Okay, what happened in Africa and China in terms of communications? Did they follow the United States and Australia and the UK in their example of putting copper wire to every home across every stretch of land? No, it couldn't. It's expensive. Think of the waste that went behind this, the infrastructure, the logistics, all the stuff to support copper wire in today's day and age in every home. No, Africa leapfrogged, right, and said, oh God, look, we've got cellular. Why don't we just throw up some cell towers throughout Africa and Nigeria? And look, we satisfy the social need to connect. We're using technology to jump ahead and leapfrog. We're not making the same mistakes. We're redefining how we want to connect and communicate with our people. And I say an easy example because for some reason, technology moves really fast, doesn't it? It's amazing and wonderful. And it's like speeding along with Moore's Law. I'm still amazed. Every time I think it can get smaller and faster so cheaply, it does. Easy example to think about leapfrogging. But what about the implementation of technology? the business systems, the social systems, the people systems behind that, the growth of management, thinking. Unfortunately, it moves agonizingly and tortuously slow. Check this out. It's a hard example because changing our beliefs is hard to do. We have this thing where once we believe something, we defend it, almost to the death. We need to. We take a belief system so that what? So we don't have to think. Some of this is really good. I'm really happy that I don't have to think that the engineers were great and this roof is going to fall on my head. But everything else that we've inherited, best practices, we do the same thing. Little has actually changed in management thinking, and certainly in education, for 200 to 250 years. But the world and technology has gone by in a flash, hasn't it? Why? Why is that? Why are we so slow? I mean, try leapfrogging with this crystallized glacial thinking in our head. We can't. We can't. We have to do something about it. And I think fundamentally, we have to understand why haven't we changed that much? Why do we think this is still best practice? I think, base of it, root cause, we're afraid. The captains of industry, the heads of HP, IBM, all these people, investment banks, UBS, whatever, they've gotten there living through the old system. They're not about to give up control. Not only that, they've sacrificed their life living in this old system. The concept that there's a better way, that you can actually enjoy your life at work, have fun, treat people with compassionate capitalism, all these little things that we're starting to see here and there. The concept that you can live your life in a different way means they've wasted 20, 30, 40 years of misery. It's a hard thing to accept. But unfortunately, this dude is a lot smarter than me, and he points out that we are not going to be solving all those problems of tomorrow, or the local problems, or any new problems of today, by thinking like we did 50 years ago, or 100 years ago. Not going to happen, guys. At least not quickly, or smartly, or effectively. So if you guys really want to shine, besides maybe thinking of those ideas, if you want to grow out of that, I think what you really got to do is borrow the one thing we've got. One, we don't have a legacy like the United States or other countries do of ingrained capitalism. But this is best practice, this is McKinsey, this is blah, blah, blah. This is how you do it. We're small, too, which means we're nimble. We don't have so much baggage, right? So try maneuvering this. This is the United States. Yes, it's big and effective. But we are this. Or we have the potential to be, if we just think a little. We can pivot our brains, the way we think, how we approach business, innovation, startups, and entrepreneurship. And we can change the rules if we just realize that we have to, that we can't play by those same rules. We don't have the pieces. Okay, so what am I talking about? I'm going to go through about 7 examples of how we could change the rules and how we need to. 1, we need to elevate culture to the level of importance of profit. Crazy idea, maybe, call me a maverick, because, oh, it's not accepted. But we need to hire and fire based on culture. We need to grow our companies based on culture. We need to spread our ideas and our services and our products based on culture. It is the only way to keep a really great spirit in your company. It's the only way that everybody's going to work together, have good teamwork, and innovate. If people are from different cultural values in the company, they don't believe in the same story, the same thing, the same passion, they are not going to all pull together. It's just not going to happen. I hire and I fire based on culture. It's a deep thing to think about. But ultimately, if you do this, you will get more profit in the long term. You're going to get more innovation, more passion, all that stuff is going to turn into more profit. Happier customers, happier employees, less turnover. Culture is king. 2, HR, audit, and all these other ridiculous little control mechanisms should be banned. Absolutely banned. All they do is basically create processes and rules, and then hire up to enforce those, and assume that your people are untrustworthy and stupid. HR should be banned. Why should somebody else be hiring my friends anyway? I could go into that for a long time. Secrets. can't exist. This is artificial power distance. This is bureaucracy. It's, I have information you don't have. I'm creating artificial power. I'm creating artifice. Why? What the fuck is so secret anymore? It's an open world. We can Google stuff on the internet, but we expect not to be able to get access to information at work. Why? Well, I can't be trusted with company secrets. No, secrets don't exist. Get rid of them. Open sharing, open transparency. 4, embrace uncertainty. This is a really hard one for people. The science shows prediction is crap. All the science. Prediction is crap. We can't predict the weather past 7 days, leave alone a 1-year financial forecast or a 5-year plan, Mr. VC. It's crap. We can't predict anything. We can't predict what my customer's going to say to me tomorrow. Yet, we try to manage it all the time. We try to put in so much energy to predict the unpredictable. Give it up. Embrace uncertainty. Following on that, release control. Bottom-up decision-making. The people closest to the problem are the ones best suited to handling it. The CEO should be the stupid one. I'm just the headlights, the windshield, showing our vision and our way, championing our culture. Everybody else interacts with the customers, does their job. I need to trust them to know how to do that job. Or why did I hire them in the first place? Or why did they choose them as a partner? Release control. All control does is create inefficiencies and bureaucracy and overhead. And all that energy you put into control could be better put into productivity. Release it. Get rid of it. 6, people over process. Every single time. I'm not against process per se, but let your people decide what they want to do. If they're smart, they understand their jobs, they understand their customer needs, let them decide. Give them that freedom. This is what they want. They know how to do it. You gotta let them do it. People will thrive. And that thriving sort of ecosystem you're gonna make in your company is what's gonna create innovation and the aha ideas. If you start putting stupid processes over people, people get smothered. They don't come to work and go, oh yeah, I've got a great new idea on how to fix this. They don't. They go, oh God, not another little form to fill out. And finally, destroy duality. And here's what I mean by this. Think about religion. No offense, but suffer now, go to heaven later. It's okay. No, it's not okay. Work like a slave now, so that your real life can begin in retirement, when you actually want to do what you want to do, or say what you want to say. It's a bribe. Suffer now, take the paycheck, live later. No. We have to understand that if we encourage people to live their stories now, to create stories, to share stories, to work those stories while they're at work, that people and business can actually be aligned. It's a huge, ridiculous lie that business and human alignment isn't there, that business is business and that personal is personal. It's a bullshit lie. Because back in the Industrial Revolution, they just wanted people to be machines, little robots. Business was business. Destroy duality. So, rules are meant to be broken. It's a cliche, but I think it's the cliche that we have to use as a banner to go forward. I'm going to give one example of a company here in Europe that is doing this, and then I'm going to finish. But I wanted to give a real life example so that you don't sit there and say, oh, Steve, this is nice, but theoretical, and it can't actually work. It does work. It works at Brazil, at amazing companies like Semco. It works at my company. It works at a handful of other companies. But here's one in France that's done really well. Maybe some of you know it. Bobby. Do about 85 million euros of revenue. They're into copper alloy parts for automotive and things like that. About 450 people. And their customers are loyal advocates. Here's what they do. This is from their playbook. I didn't make this up. HR removed. In their CEO's view, all HR does is constrain people and grow their own ranks to enforce that constraint. And he's right. Finish up really quickly. 2, hierarchy is banned, flatten it out. Responsiveness and responsibility is based on trust. 3, no individual bonuses, it's all teamwork. Makes sense. 4, centralization is dumb. Once again, it's command and control. swelling the need for audit and such things. 5, freedom is everything. Each team, each little group does exactly what they want. There's a really funny story about a customer that came and talked to them and said, hey, where's your little systems for tracking to make sure something's not late or something isn't trouble with our system delivery? And the CEO said to the customer, have we ever been late? And the customer said, no. He said, have we ever been early? And the customer said, no. And he said, so why do you want me to track something that doesn't exist? It's ridiculous. Control is an illusion. It's born from fear. That's their playbook. So, and the result of these guys is success. They've grown, their people are happy, their customers are advocates, and yes, their revenue, since they implemented this, has increased 10 times. For those of you who want that measure of success. So summary, because I've got to wrap up. In one slide, lemmings suck. Don't be a lemming. Lemmings are the little animals that have a herd mentality. When one goes running off a cliff, they all go running off a cliff. We can't keep running off cliffs. Change our thinking. Summary in 4 points that are a little bit more concise. Redefine your view of success. Going back to my beginning of the speech, there's nothing wrong with being small, with being regional. You know, is HP a success? They just posted a 6 billion loss. Great. Is that a success? Why? Why do you have to be big? Celebrate small. Share your stories. 2, ask why. Challenge everything. Why? Kids know how to do this. They ask you why so many times. Why does this guy do it? Why? We've stopped. We've forgotten how. Why is that best practice? Why should I do it this way? Why do I need to have audit? Why? I don't know. So you have to challenge yourself, because if you're not going to challenge yourself, you will not learn. You will not grow. 3, business is personal. It is. I don't know where this stupid lie perpetuates from, but make business personal. If you make business personal, your people will thrive. And when they thrive, your business will thrive. Your customers will thrive. Business is personal. And lastly, all this talk about in the box or out of the box, there is no box. You have to understand that there should be no box. There is no established thinking, because it was for 250 years ago, for a situation in a world of 250 years ago. Screw the box. There is no box. Make your own box. Make a circle for all I care. All right. Thank you.